In the month of transformation, it's our first Sunday, kicking off our new theme, and this is your call. It's all of our calls. And welcome to all of you who have somehow arrived since we began this service. First of all, though, I would really love for us to take a moment to just really share some love and some light and some prayers for our brothers and sisters to the east of us in Washington and all over the world, but especially Spokane, who had a really rough night. And I've been in prayer most of the evening. I've got a lot of friends and colleagues who live in Spokane because our home office used to be in Spokane many, many years ago when I was licensed. So let's all just take a moment. Send our energy and support and love and light to all of those blessed, beautiful beings that are finding themselves pivoting at the moment due to some changes, due to some very real transformations happening. And so, thank you for doing that, bringing their awareness into this room and into our love. So I'm going to shift a little bit. We're going to pivot. I busted up laughing when I saw this, and I just had to go there. So you know how I always like to share something funny, and you know, I could be a little off color. So let's go to the next slide. I don't know if you all will find this as funny as I did. I don't know. For those of you that don't know, that is a marijuana plant. And the marijuana plant is saying, "Who's the devil lettuce now?" And he's talking to the lettuce. So it's just so funny. I mean, for years and years, I think that's been known that was termed the devil lettuce. And I just busted up laughing when I saw that. So anyway, who's the devil lettuce now? Got to stay a little current with what's going on. In this month of transformation, we are exploring what it takes to strike the spark of true conviction. This is your call. This is my call. We're being called this month, and we're going to go into it in greater detail. This month, we gain clarity on the difference between transactional and transformational lives, spirituality, relationships. We invite all to come and sit in the receptive space of visioning. We let go of the how and discover the inner fuel that ignites our highest purpose and elevates our entire spiritual community. And boy, is our entire spiritual community being elevated. For those of you that might not know, we are starting our children's church. We have teachers now, and we'll be offering it at least once a month, probably twice a month on select Sundays. And we now have 7 teens that attend this church regularly. So we're kicking off our teen group as well with the plan of taking a group of teens to camp next January. That is the goal. So this community is growing, and growing means that there's new folks that are coming in and being a part of this, and it's time for us to come together and talk about our new vision and our new mission and our new purpose and who do we want to become and what do we want to do and all of that wonderful stuff. So we're going to be diving into that deeply this month. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I'm so excited about it. Potential. Wouldn't you say there's a great amount of potential that's always existing everywhere present, seen and unseen? There is so much potential in each one of us. There is so much potential right here in this beloved, beautiful sanctuary. Oh, I'll need to go to another slide soon because I didn't realize that. Just leave it. I'll get there. There's so much potential everywhere. Potential in all, thank you, in all things. So potential is a beautiful gift. I think we can all agree on that, right? Yet, without fuel, even the brightest idea stays idling in the dark. So it's good to have potential, and it's also good to have fuel. So what fuels you? What fuels you? Feel free to answer that real quickly if you'd like. Other people fuels you, yes. The children in your life, absolutely. Rescuing ducks. Yes. Yes, that's right. I've been to your farm. I've seen your ducks. I've met your ducks. I've eaten your duck eggs. They're wonderful. What fuels you? Anybody else? Oxygen. Amen, sister. Oxygen fuels me too. For sure. Purpose. Purpose fuels you. Yes. Music. Love. Inspiration. Yes. Yes. So, what moves you from potential to power? You don't have to answer that. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions this morning. What moves you from potential to power? How do you fuel your life? Now, we heard several things: rescuing ducks and music and love and purpose and children, oxygen, people. This is the question for us as we move into a greater understanding and a deeper idea of transformation. What moves you from potential to power? And how do you fuel your life? What lifts you out of sameness? What lifts you out of hesitation? And what lifts you out of old patterns into a clear realization of what is mine to do? This is your call. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "There is no fire without fuel." And just so you know, I wrote this talk before last night, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be talking about fire. But apparently fire is the going theme at the moment. So Ralph Waldo Emerson says, there is no fire without fuel. So let's go to the next slide. We're not talking about this kind of fuel, though. The executive's special is soup made with jalapeno peppers, chili powder, salsa, cayenne pepper, and red onions to help rekindle that fire in your belly. I promise you that is not the kind of rekindling that we're going to be doing here at the potlucks. I promise you. But I thought that was really funny because we're going to be talking about that fire in your belly, and become aware of the fire in your belly, and to become aware of what fuels that fire in your belly. So with our month of transformation, we are moving into an understanding and a greater understanding of the difference between transactional and transformational. You know, I have to share with you personally, working on this talk and writing this talk this week, it's still got a hold of me. So Lord only knows what's going to come out of my mouth this morning, but it's still got a hold of me because there's something within that I am gaining a much greater understanding of, like a big aha. So I am inviting you to come on this journey with me this morning and this month. A transactional experience is primarily about exchange. The question underneath it is, what can I get? What can I accomplish? Or what can I avoid? The focus is on outcomes, performance, convenience, or mutual benefit. There is nothing inherently wrong with transactions. They are necessary. We engage in them every single day. Examples of transactions that we engage in are buying groceries, hiring someone to repair your roof, attending a networking event solely to gain business contacts, going to church because you hope to feel better and receive a blessing. Transaction is often characterized by efficiency, obligation, expectations, conditions, measurement, external rewards, and short-term thinking. Those are all characteristics that are often categorizing transaction. The relationship exists as long as the exchange remains beneficial. A transformational experience changes who you are. The underlying question becomes, who am I becoming? Rather than simply exchanging something, transformation expands awareness. It heals old patterns. It awakens compassion. It deepens wisdom. And it reveals more of our authentic nature. Transformation is less about getting something and more about becoming someone. Characteristics include growth, awakening, expansion of consciousness, healing, presence, authenticity, love, lasting inner change. You leave different than when you arrived. Now we're going to move into relationships. Transactional relationships are relationships that often revolve around roles. Examples are customer and cashier, employer and employee, neighbor who only waves politely, networking acquaintances. The interaction asks, what do you need? What do I receive? And what are the expectations? Again, there is nothing wrong with this. Society depends on healthy transactions. However, if every relationship remains transactional, intimacy never develops. Deep, profound sacredness never develops. So transformational relationships. These relationships invite both people into greater wholeness. Instead of asking, what can you do for me? Transformational relationships ask, how can we grow together? These relationships stretch us. They reveal blind spots. They inspire our highest potential. They encourage healing, and they expand love. Examples include a mentor who changes the course of your life, a lifelong friendship that continually calls forth your best self, a spiritual community that reminds you of your divine nature, a loving partnership where both people become more authentic. Transformation doesn't always feel comfortable. Sometimes the people who transform us challenge us the most. Richard Rohr observed that people who trigger us are often the most that teach us. Can y'all relate to that? So now we're going to move into living, transactional living. A transactional life tends to measure success by accumulation. Questions like, did I get enough? Am I successful? Am I appreciated? What's in it for me? And how can I protect what I have? Life becomes a series of checklists. More possessions, check. More accomplishments, check. More approval, check. The outer world becomes the measure of fulfillment, like external validation. And we've talked about that before. Transformational living, on the other hand, measures success by consciousness. Now remember last month we talked about the different layers and levels and scales of consciousness. Transformational life measures success by consciousness. Questions become, am I becoming more loving? Am I living authentically? How am I growing? What is this experience teaching me? How is spirit expressing through me? Even difficult experiences become opportunities for awakening. Let's go to the next slide, please. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. So in transformational living, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Why, oh, why is this happening to me? We begin asking, what is life inviting me to become? What is life inviting me to become? Kind of like, what is here for me to grow into a greater awareness of? That single shift changes everything. We are not here merely to improve our circumstances. Now, I'm going to read that again. Because a lot of times I think that for whatever reason, society, culture, marketing, industry, consumerism, whatever, whoever, but a lot of times I think we are encouraged and taught that really life is truly about improving our circumstances. But it's really not. It's about awakening to the divine presence that's already within us. And to be really real with you here, folks, if our circumstances are really, really great and wonderful and beautiful and harmonious all the time, I don't know about you, but most of my growth or most of my realization of the divine presence within me, I usually get closer to it when I'm not experiencing improved circumstances. Right? And I'm not saying bring it on, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that if you just make that little shift and switch, because I can't tell you how many times I found myself doing that this week, because I think, at least for me, I've been ingrained to view life and perceive life in certain ways. However, not all the places, but in certain places that it's about improving circumstances. It's not. A transactional spirituality says, I'll pray so I get what I want. I'll meditate so I'll feel less stressed. I'll attend church if it benefits me. A transformational spirituality says, I pray to remember who I truly am. I meditate to become available to divine guidance. I gather in spiritual community so that together we awaken to our shared divinity. One seeks a different life, the other becomes a different person. And here's the thing about seeking a different life. Remember that saying, no matter where you are, no matter where you go, there you are. Right, I realized I said it wrong. Wherever you go, there you are. So if you're constantly seeking a different life by maybe changing your circumstances, you're still there. You're still there. So imagine visiting a beautiful garden. A transactional visitor walks through thinking, what flowers can I pick? And I can totally relate to this because I love flowers. And when I go out, I love flowers, right? Yet here's the thing, and this isn't really about picking flowers, so just so you know, I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you pick flowers. A transactional visitor walks through thinking, what flowers can I pick? Yet a transformational visitor walks through asking, how can I become someone who cultivates beauty wherever I go? Kind of like being the flower, right? Because flowers will eventually fade. The gardener becomes capable of creating beauty for a lifetime. This is the heart of transformation. New Thought teaches that life is not simply happening to us. It is unfolding through us. Life is unfolding through us. We're not separate from life, and life is not separate from us. It's happening and having its way with us and birthing itself through us right here and now. For every encounter, every challenge, every relationship, every sacred moment carries an invitation to evolve in consciousness. So if everything is an invitation to evolve in consciousness, there's nothing to judge, there's nothing to blame, there's nothing to shame. There's everything to be aware of, to take in. Transactions help us navigate the world. Transactions are not bad. They help us navigate the world. Transformations help us realize our divine nature. The deepest purpose of the spiritual journey is not merely to have better experiences. It's to become a greater expression of love, a greater expression of wisdom, of creativity, of presence. A greater expression of presence. This is the true measure of a transformational life. And this brings me to my favorite poem. I know I've shared it with you before, but it's been months ago. It's by Donna Markova, I Will Not Die, An Unlived Life. So let's go to that next slide and just take this in, okay? I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom. And that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. So let's just take a breath and take that in for a minute. I was recently reminded of a very powerful distinction working with this idea of transaction and transformation. The difference between change and transformation. You see, with change, I can make a different choice, but I can always revert back to the old behavior. I can change locations, yet return to where I began. I can change my mind about a person, but I can also revert back to thinking about them as I had before. Change allows for reversals. Transformation does not. A butterfly cannot reverse the metamorphosis and shove itself back into the casing of that caterpillar. An oak cannot be reduced back into the acorn. The fruit cannot go back to being the blossom. Each are transformed into an entirely different way of being. And you know, it's easy to describe this analogy when discussing these physical form examples, but it's a bit more difficult when it comes to defining transformation in consciousness. I'm going to ask this. Who among us hasn't had a dozen epiphanies? Who among us hasn't been handheld to the edges of metamorphosis, only to pull a Lot's wife endeavor backwards glance and revert back to what's familiar? Right? Transformation is real change because it's evolution. It's growth. It's soul growth. A colleague of mine and friend, Dr. David Alt, provides us with examples of transformation and consciousness in his work and travels abroad, including his own profound journey. He met Guatemalan teenage girls who have made bold and perilous decisions to leave slave labor work and tortilleras, often against family wishes, in order to seek an education. They've begged, pleaded, and escaped 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. work days, 7 days a week, forfeiting the $60 a month salary. So did y'all hear that? 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., getting paid $60 a month. They forfeited that to seek scholarships in order to better their lives. They are, to Dr. David, transformationalists. They are not going back. They take 2 buses to get to their studies every morning and 2 buses back, and often having to add chores to the lengthy list of daily responsibilities. Let's go to the next slide. There's a picture of them. Dr. David shares that their hunger for life and expansion broke his already broken opened heart even more and caused his chest to heave and pound with rare breaths of awe. In this picture, these children in Lakhanpur, India, live without electricity, fresh water, or any sustaining resource. But they all crowd into this cow barn for the chance to learn. And Dr. David said, I can't stop thinking about them. He goes on to say, the same epiphanies have happened in Cambodia since 2004. Every year on these trips, he returns to his private space and emotionally breaks down. He goes on to say this. Now, I'm taking you on a journey here, so go with me. I'm telling you Dr. David's story. Being a minister in a spiritual movement whose vision is a world that works for everyone accelerates the realization, and this is Dr. David, I'm quoting him, that my time on this planet is precious. It also makes me impatient around those who profess to want transformation, yet complain about hard chairs, or fewer potlucks, or some minimal retreat workshop fee. I often feel deficit in my role as a supposed transformation catalyst because the requirements of metamorphosis seems inconvenient for too many. I often ask myself, what will it take to really start a transformation revolution? He says single mothers and fathers around the world make transformational decisions every day to provide for their families at all cost. Abandoned children pull their resilience out from the deepest of inner resources and defy obstacle after obstacle to show up and sit in a classroom. For them, there isn't the luxury of looking back. So he said, and this was many years ago, folks, he said, I want more time with these people. I must be with more of these people in order that I may learn to be more of that myself. You see, his soul was yearning for that transformation, that this is your call, that fire in his belly that's going to fuel his purpose. And he found it. He actually found it. So let's go to the next slide. He founded the Kaleidoscope Foundation, which is a foundation that currently serves children in Cambodia, India, Guatemala, Kenya, and the United States. And he just recently, now this is a gentleman that was dear beloved friends with Louise Hay back in the day when she used to do her hay rides during the AIDS epidemic. David traveled with her. He was a part of a three guy band and sang and provided the music on those hay rides long time ago in California. So he's, having been best friends with Louise Hay for a very long time, he's also been kind of plugged into that world, the publishing world, the world of Hollywood, so to speak. And so they just finished a documentary on his life, particularly his life in the schools that he has started through his foundation, the Kaleidoscope Foundation. So I want to play the movie trailer for his documentary, because the movie trailer helps to bring home my purpose in my talk today. Thank you.
Travel. Cut to decades later, and I was offered a trip to Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam.
Cambodian people have been through so many things, so many wars, and then so many loss.
The country still had not recovered from their civil war. Close to 2.5 million Cambodian people died. That's the equivalent of an entire generation of people gone. I just remember thinking, even you, poor child, David from Texas, can do something. The most powerful mantra that you can ever say is, I'm available.
What we're doing, and with David's leadership, is we're creating a tapestry of love. And at the center of that tapestry are those children.
These children are amazing to me. They're sponges. They want to learn as much as they can.
Our NGO gives life skills, it gives English, it gives computer opportunities at a level that the generations before them didn't have.
David created not just a school for kids to help them with their individual selves, but it also helped the whole entire community.
It is transformative to see how you can affect change.
And what's really wild is between India and Cambodia, from illiteracy to the capability that poured from these kids' minds, how does someone learn that fast?
He got into the Ivy League engineering school of India by studying here.
Yes.
Woo!
There's going to be one moment that changes you at your core. And that was that moment for me.
I just kept saying, I'm available, I'm available.
In the midst of the challenges, in the midst of the uncertainty, David is following his bliss. It empowers him to persist.
But boy, it's true. The most powerful mantra you could ever say is, I'm available. And then look out. Your whole world will change.
That was his call, right? He had fire in his belly that started out taking a trip to Cambodia, a little spiritual trip to Cambodia. And he started talking to the children there and meeting the children and seeing the situation. And that was in 2004. So over 20 years. So they've built many, many schools. They've provided water and lots of resources. They've changed the lives of many people. And if you go to their website, and I don't know if you went, did you click on the link to their website, to that link I sent you? Okay. So we're gonna be getting into that this month, not their website, ours. But if you go to their website, About Us, on their website, right there, just clear as day, is what they value, what their mission is, what they're all about, and what they're doing about it. And that's what we're diving into in a deeper way this month. In this transformation, my questions are, who are we? What are we about? What are our values? What's our vision? What's our mission? Because how do we know that we're being that? How do we express that which we are? We'll get into that in a greater way. There is no fire without fuel. One of my favorite scenes in the movie Castaway. How many of you have seen that movie, Castaway, with Tom Hanks? If you haven't seen it, please do. It's a great movie. But one of my favorite scenes in Castaway is when Tom Hanks who's stranded on a desert island, and after many, many failed attempts, he manages to start a fire using friction and little dabs of dried coconut husks. The director allowed it to unfold in real time. We were able to experience and feel the sense of importance, the frustration, and eventually the exaltation of his victory. He's standing on the beach. Do you recall that scene? And he's like, fire! I made fire! And you could feel it. Because he knew he had to do that. It saved his life. It allowed him to have light and heat and to cook the fish that he learned to catch with his homemade spear. We saw his determination and his refusal to give up. The truth of Emerson's words comes to mind. There is no fire without fuel. There is no fire without fuel. So what fuels you? What fuels us? Simon Sinek, if you'll go to the next slide, please. What good is having a belly if there's no fire in it? He says, wake up, drink your passion, light a match, and get to work. There is no real change without a vision. There is no forward movement without optimism. There is no great discovery without commitment. No true love without passion. Our word, our big idea, our desire will sit idling in potential until it becomes the fire in our belly. What that actually is conviction. We have become one with the image to the point that we can say with real certainty, this is mine to do. This is your call. This is your call. Let's go to the next slide, please. Oh, that's not it. Must have, it's the next one. When the fire in your belly burns bright, nothing is impossible for you. Amen. So the question for us today, and one that might seem grandiose, yet it is quite simple. How do I fuel my life? And therefore, how do I fuel this church's life? What would lift me out of old patterns, old behaviors, sameness, or the sense that in life it's stuck, that I am not going anywhere and not serving my true purpose? What will lift you out of that? Try not to answer with winning the lottery. That would be nice, but it's temporary elation, not necessarily transformational. Because what are you going to do when all the money's gone, right? Not what we're considering here. The purpose of visioning is to be totally open and receptive to hearing Spirit's guidance and not our own, not our ego agenda or expectations. I don't know what this community wants to look like, but God does. Spirit does. My job is to be quiet and to be open and to listen and to ask the question so that I may receive the answer. So, here we are. We don't want to consider the how of it. Stay with the what. It is a simple mental practice, this visioning, but one which can ignite our self-identity, leading us into uncharted realms of possibility. So it's time to come together. It's time to come together and receive Spirit's next grandest vision for our community. To create a new vision and mission statement that reflects who and what we are and what we desire to become as we journey in this transformational process together. What is our vision for the future? What is our vision for the future? So I want to schedule our next community gathering. If you remember, we had one a few months ago where we told our stories and we honored that has come before us, and we honored all that was and is. So it's time for us to come back together as a community, and we've grown and we've got new faces, new ideas, new visions. So I have a question for you by raise of hand. There are a couple of Sundays that we're looking at in August, because we have 5 Sundays in August. Woohoo! So that means I get a bonus Sunday. So August 23rd or Sunday, August the 30th, while we're doing potluck, I want to facilitate a visioning process about what we've been talking about. So by raise of hands, raise your hand if Sunday, August the 23rd works for you. Raise them high. Okay. Sunday, August 30th. Raise them high. So it looks like the 23rd had more. Okay, raise your hand if it's the 23rd. Raise them high. I got to get an idea here. Okay, raise your hand if it's the 30th. And both, you can raise your hand if you're here for both. It is not. But that's a great question, Rose. It is not. Well, it almost looks totally balanced. Okay, raise your hand if you're not going to be here on the 30th. How about that? Okay. All right. Well, it seemed pretty balanced to me. Do y'all have a preference? I'm sorry? Part 1 and part 2. I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, we potluck for sure. Part 1, I like the way you think, even part 1 and part 2. Okay. So just know, be on the lookout, because I'll be advertising it for us to get together. There's really nothing for you to do other than show up and be open. That's it. And bring something for potluck, but you all do that anyway, because you're wonderful and awesome and amazing. And it's always delicious. So we have an affirmation. Can we go back to the other slide, please? And whoo, it's hot in here, isn't it? There's a remote there. Can I get somebody to grab that remote and hit cooling, please? It might just be me. I'm hot. I don't know if y'all are hot or not, but I am. So we have an affirmation. If y'all want to say this with me. I freely allow my higher awareness to reveal what my heart knows is true for me. I ask with complete faith that the answer is now. How do I fuel my life? How do I fuel this church's life? So we'll go back to the other slide. So I'm ending with, this is your call. This is my call. This is our call. When the fire in your belly burns bright, nothing is impossible for you, and nothing is impossible for us. And so it is.